the TV, and this is back in the 70s, so television sets were not these little thin screens. The TV came flying across the room right at him and just missed him by inches. And he ran in and he grabbed the girl and he ran back out of the house with her. And he said that was one of probably the most frightening and the most personal experiences that he's had. And that was fascinating. And then he also works with, also on the website, I didn't mention him yet, but Shane Sirwa, he's going to speak on Sunday, the same day I am. And he's worked with Paul for some time now, and he's fascinating. He's been studying and helping families on paranormal cases for over 30 years. He's also an experiencer. At a young age he had encounters. But basically, I saw him not too long ago, within about a year, and he and I were chatting, and I asked him a similar question: have you had any physical evidence? What have you seen? And he said, yeah. And he helped one gentleman who was having issues. He went to his house. When he walked in the house, there was poltergeist activity immediately. The lamp flew across the room. He worked with this gentleman for several weeks, and one day he said the gentleman came out of his room, and out of the corner he saw this spiral form, and then he saw a being appear, and he had a cell phone with him. He snapped a picture, and he had a picture of it, and he showed me, and that was really one that sent chills down my spine. He showed me on his phone, and he ended up removing the creature. But he said and I said, what happened when you saw the creature? He said, he'll never forget the amount of, he called it hatred, this feeling of hatred in his eyes, and the picture he had captured the being's eyes, which I saw on the phone. Which it was creepy just seeing through the phone, so I can't imagine being in the same room. But and he worked with the gentleman over weeks to basically rid the entity from the dwelling that he lived in. So that was another fascinating story. But he has many more, and so Shane's going to be there on Sunday talking about some of his experiences. So that's exciting to have him.
Oh, this sounds interesting. I'd love to have them on our show. If you want to send any of these people my way, even though your conference may be over, I'd love to talk to them on our shows.
Well, yeah,
can you hear me?
They're still going to have
okay.
They're still going to have haunted houses and cemeteries up there in Rhode Island. Taps really put them on the map. Remember,
Yep.
She doesn't watch a lot of the TV shows I do, but she watches a lot at night with her husband.
What's that show?
Taps. You don't know about
Taps?
Anyway, they go in and they do a lot of ghost hunting in houses.
What was
They got real
Taps?
expensive equipment.
I haven't watched television for years. Okay, so they do ghost hunting. So I grew up in a haunted house, and my sister still lives there, and it was just full of ghosts. There wasn't a lot of things floating around, although I would see discarnates. I saw this head that would float, like to come up behind me in the middle of the day for years and years. It's like I did want to live in my house, and so as soon as I turned 18, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I hear some talking. I didn't know if you heard me or not. So there's something wrong with my phone. I keep putting on mute, but then it doesn't come back right away. But anyway, so I would love to someday have somebody come investigate my house, because it was just,
You mean the one in Pennsylvania?
I was tortured. Yeah, I was tortured by all these paranormal activities. But then looking back, I realized some of those were extraterrestrial. So I've learned to, separate them out, which were extraterrestrial, which were ghosts. But I know the house is very haunted, but my sister lives there, so I try not to scare her. And I think a lot of the beings, when my mother died, I think they went with her. But remember the being that was in the movie Poltergeist, the big snarling being?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
He was
great. That little girl died.
Yeah, he was in my mother's house, that type of being. And
Gotcha.
I saw it in the middle of the day. It wasn't like, they don't wait till night to go bump. This was in the middle of the day. And what happened was there was a staircase that my mother kept locked. There were two staircases. It was an old 1840s farmhouse. There was one that went up the front and one that went up through the kitchen. And she always had it locked, and she would scream at us if we tried to open it. And, we weren't even allowed to touch the door. But I had a girlfriend staying with me, and she didn't listen to my mother. So somehow she went down when my parents were in church on a Sunday morning, and she opened the door. And then she was screaming, and I came down, and there was that snarling, drooling being with the large mouth. And this being made everything in the room fly around. It was in the kitchen. And so everything that was very poltergeisty, right? It was like it made like a whirlwind, and it picked up, dishes and so I fell to the floor screaming, and then my mother, who was in church 2 blocks away, jumps up and says, "Bill, we have to go home right now." So he got the car and drove her home, and she jumped out of the car, ran up the steps. She had a barricade, a dryer in front of this thing, so she energetically took the beast, pushed it back into the stairwell, pushed the dryer, like she had super strength, pushed the dryer in front of the door, and then turned around and she said, "I told you, children, never open that door." And we never talked about it again. We never addressed it, never talked about it. It was just the most frightening thing ever. But I went into what's called lacunae. It's a fight or flight response, because I had to live in the house, right? So I stuck it in the back of my mind, and I didn't talk about it. And I thought, well, then after years go by, you go, oh, I made that up. That had to be a dream. That had to be, I must be crazy, right? Dude. But then years later, my girlfriend, who had long moved away and had, about 5 kids, she finally wrote to me, and she said, I wanted to go over what happened. What do you remember about it? And so I said, oh, no, that was real. Oh, yeah, that was very real. So how do you deal with people? I mean, you don't do this for a living, but this is something that we're dealing with trauma all the time from people that have experiences, and they're trying to integrate that into their lives. But did these episodes, did anybody actually, I didn't get hurt. Nobody got hurt. It was frightening when one reality bleeds into the other. I don't really know anybody that was personally hurt by extraterrestrials or ghosts or poltergeists or interdimensionals. Did anybody you know of or that your researchers work with actually get injured?
Real quick, Janet,
Go ahead.
tell you, TAPS is for the Atlantic Paranormal Ghost Hunters. It was the Atlantic Paranormal Society. So they were one of the first ghost hunters, and they actually had a show on Sci-Fi, SYFY. But back, Grant Wilson founded TAPS, which is just the initials, the Atlantic Paranormal Society. But it got to be where ghost hunters got sort of known as TAPS. And then I remember years and years ago, before we were doing radio, I was working with different ones in Kentucky up there. They were getting really famous for paranormal events. But actually, believe it or not, Janet, this Atlantic Paranormal Society was formed in Rhode Island. So Warwick, Rhode Island.
There
you know
it is. I just pulled it up.
Yep. So they're very famous. That should be helping. James Hawes still has a Facebook. It was James Hawes. Look him up on Facebook, Janet, and you ought to get him on here sometime. He had Ghost Hunters, and they have
I got it. Jason Hawes, Ghost Hunters. Yeah. Yep.
There you go. Now you know what they are. TAPS is, right?
I see I'm out of the world of television. So I think my ancestors, I have to ask my sister, she's doing the genealogy because she's converted Mormon. That's what they have to do, right? So she's doing all the genealogy.
Do a ghost hunter in
Warwick.
Philadelphia. Do Philadelphia. You find your ghost hunter.
Yeah, find ghost hunter. Anyway, well, that's fascinating.
Well,
I didn't even know this show existed. Yeah.
Are you going to have a ghost hunter there, Jaimy?
No ghost hunter per se. I would say Shane, as I mentioned earlier, he's worked with several folks to, remove entities, but he doesn't, I don't know, really hunt them. They more people come to him and he goes to them, but he'll certainly be there. And then, on the paranormal side, probably Greg and Dana Newkirk, but I really wouldn't call them technically ghost hunters, although they do go investigate various cases. And then of course, Paul Eno. So but no one like Jason from TAPS. So great to have him. Maybe we can get him to come up back to Warwick if we make this an annual event, which we hopefully do. And yeah. I think they moved though. I think they started in Rhode Island, but I think they may have moved to Florida if I'm not mistaken.
Grant Wilson too. Cool. They had.
You're breaking up.
I am.
So
I'm sitting still.
Now you're fine. It was just a little. It's okay. I think it's the system being wonky. Well, that's fascinating. You know, I've loved this topic because that was my life, and you guys are hitting on everything that resonates with me. But I live all the way in Hawaii, so I'm not going to be able to make it. What?
The lady that has decided to be the big brainstormer is here, Valerie McLaughlin. So welcome, Valerie. We've been talking about you.
Hi. Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing great, especially now that you're here.
You want to introduce yourself,
what do you want to
Valerie?
tell us, Valerie?
Yeah, I'm
okay,
TJ. I'm a psychic medium and an author and a radio show host. So tell us who you are.
Okay.
Valerie?
Well, I'm Valerie McLaughlin, and my daytime or nighttime job, really, I work second shift, kind of shift, whatever. I'm a counselor. I worked in the human service field, counseling and substance abuse for many years now, and so that's what I do in my kind of like my daytime job. But about 2.5 years ago, I said, I was thinking about the X-Files a lot, and I wanted to have some fun, and I wanted to get have people have fun, and I was thinking that maybe putting together a convention would be fun. And here we are. It happens next weekend, 1 week from tomorrow. Wow.
Wow. So are you ready?
Well, you know how it is. There's always one more thing to do, no matter how you try to get organized. And but pretty much, I mean, it's just a little bit of the detail work now. I mean, we have all the wonderful presenters all set, and we have the schedule, and we have the time slots all taken care of. So we're getting there.
Do you have any of the TAPS people? Because it got, the famous ghost hunters got started up in Warwick, Rhode Island. Do you have a lot of the people with the haunted houses or ghost hunters?
Yeah.
Or a lot of the vendors maybe representing haunted houses and, any of the EVP equipment? Any of those exhibitors going to be there?
Well, I did advertise for people who did that. Had that kind of equipment, but no one took the hook. So maybe
we'll have
next
to get
year.
To some paranormal people. Yeah, definitely paranormal X-Files go together. Go.
That's
for Bigfoot.
I was going to just remember. I was going to say, just remember that Andrew Lake's going to be. Sorry.
Go ahead.
All right, let me say, apparently Jaimy is really needing to say something. Jaimy, go for it.
I was going to say, you asked that earlier too, and I forgot to mention Andrew Lake will be there. Andrew Lake, he founded what's called the Greenville Paranormal Research Group, and he's been, researching ghost stories within the New England area for quite some time. And he appeared on the movie I mentioned earlier, the Bridgewater Triangle. So he, I guess, maybe you could call him somewhat of a ghost hunter. He may have some of that equipment that he owns, but I don't know if he's bringing it with him. But he'll be fascinating to listen to as well. I think he has some really fascinating stories. In fact, one of his stories, they did a PBS show called The Legends of Dolly Cole based on his work. So yeah, it'll be exciting to have him there.
Oh, okay. So there is paranormal folks up there in Rhode Island, very famous state. Got TAPS going. The Atlantic Paranormal Society is probably the most famous thing that I can think of in our line of work and paranormal work in alienology, extraterrestrials, phenomenology, cosmology. But big thing with UFOs, but even cryptozoology with a Bigfoot. But TAPS is very well known due to their television show. But I guess you're really I love X-Files. So tell me, I was real excited that